Hello and welcome back to the second video where we'll be looking at Active Directory. So let's get to our checklist and examine what needs to be done. So in Active Directory we'll be creating a domain. Now first to do that we first need to add a role, right, on which the role will be Active Directory Domain Services to the server. After that, we'll then set up DC Promo, right? That will actually create a domain and by extension create a domain controller, which will be the server that we're working on. And finally, we'll add clients to the domain. So let's get straight to it. I already have Windows 2008 set up here. It's open. Let's insert our control delete and we'll put in our password. Now I want you to take notice of administrator here, the account administrator. When we create the domain, you will notice the name of the domain and then a backslash administrator, which signifies that we are on the domain. So let us enter our password here and get started by setting up Active Directory. Alright, so here we go. We have our server manager already open up here. Let's just examine the computer information. We have our computer name, the server. This is the server we're working on right now, and the type of network is on. It's on a workgroup network. The IP address is already configured. Now the only thing we have to do is we'll add a role. So let's click add roles. So from the beginning, I'm just reading on what exactly to expect from this wizard. Now we're clicking on this role here, Active Directory Domain Services. Alright, then next. This will give us a description of Active Directory Domain Services. Click next, and then confirmation on the roles that we added, and then click install. Now when you have a server and you just installed a server operating system, let's say 2008, that server doesn't immediately start managing resources like it's supposed to. You need to add roles to the server. Active Directory Domain Services is one of those roles, right? That is actually what does the managing. Of course, you have to do some more further configurations, right, for it to do the actual managing of the resources on that domain network. Now after this, we still have to install a called DC Promo, which is our next step. That utility will allow the server to manage the resources. Right. So we finish here. You see here installation succeeded of Active Directory Domain Services. The installation has succeeded. Now move on to step 2 on our checklist, installing and setting up DC Promo. So let's click here. This wizard will close and a new wizard will open here. Click next. Next. Good. Forest. Great. Next step now, we're creating a domain controller. Next step now, creating domain. Now we'll click this here, create a new domain and a new forest. What a forest is? A forest is a environment with one or more domains. Alright. We can't click this here because we don't have a forest. So we'll create a new domain, give it a name as well as a new forest. So next, give our domain name an easy name. We'll corp.com. Next, So right now our domain and forest name is corp.com. Great. Functionality now. What this does here, we choose Windows Server 2008. What this does is when we create our domain and we set our functional level to Windows Server 2008, that domain expects every other domain controller to be operating at Windows Server 2008 functional level. Right? Therefore, certain features that Windows Server 2008 will provide, they expect those domain controllers to provide it. So we choose Windows Server 2008. Next. And create a DNS now. And now we have an option of adjusting our directory to save our database files folders. We'll leave it as default. Next, I'll get a password now. Now for just the summary, alright, to confirm what we have, what we installed, what we chose during the setup process. Click next for the installation of. Great, now we're completed. Let's click finish. It will have to restart, and let's restart now. Now we'll be performing our next item in the checklist, which is adding computers to the domain. So we're almost through. Okay, now we're all loaded up here. There we go. Like I said in the beginning of the video, take note of the corp \, which represents the domain. It is basically telling us that administrator is part of the corp domain. If you add, let's insert our password. All right. And let's take a look at our computer information again. And if you notice the change, the name server.corp.com and the domain corp.com. Alright. So this computer is officially on a domain named corp, and it is the domain controller. So let's add computers to this domain. Alright, so Windows 7 all loaded up. Let's insert our password. Again, take note of the account, client free. Put our password in and add the computer to the domain so you can see what I'm talking about. Alright, to start, right click on computer, properties, scroll down. Again, take note the computer name client3.pc. This is the machine, the computer name, and of course the network is a workgroup network. So we're going to change the settings. We'll come down here to rename this computer or change the domain or workgroup. Click change. Click change. We go to domain, and then we type in the name of our domain, which is, if you come across here, corp, C-O-R-P. We don't need to put d.com, just C-O-R-P. It must be spelled the same, must have the same format in terms of uppercase or lowercase, and click OK. Now I have to type in an account that has permission on the domain. So far, the only account that has permission on that domain is the administrator account. So we type in administrator and the password of the administrator account. And there we go. We're now part of the domain corp. Click OK, and we of course have to restart our computer for it to take effect. Okay, close, and we'll start it later. I want to show you something before we continue. In the last video, when I was doing the IP configurations on the adapter, I don't think I created an IP address for the DNS server. So I did this prior to this video, so I'll show you right now how that is done. Of course, we go to network sharing center, compare to local area connection, properties, click IP version 4 and properties. Good. Now you can see here we have the IP address of the computer, the subnet mask, we have the default gateway, which is the server, and then the DNS server, which is also our server, our domain controller. We have our default gateway, which is the domain controller. This is the address right here, and the DNS server as well is the domain controller, because we installed the DNS on that domain controller. So that's what we have right here. Okay, close and close. Now let's restart this computer. Of course, I've done that to all the other operating systems, adding the IP address for the DNS server. So let's restart this computer. The process, the next computer we're gonna install now is Windows XP. Windows 7 is all loaded up here. So let's insert Alt Control Delete here. Alright, and like I said, there we go. Client free PC / client free. Now if I log in here, I will be logging onto the standalone computer. So what I have to do now is go to switch users, other user, right, which will give us the option to log on to corp. Now this computer doesn't have its own account to log on to corp, so we'll be using the administrator account. How we do that? We type in corp / administrator, then we put in the password for administrator. We're now logged on to the corp domain as administrator. So let's move on to Windows XP. So insert Control Alt Delete here, put in the password, that's one kind of about XP is its load up is so fast. That was fast, wasn't that fast? That was fast. Now start. We go to Control my computer, right click on my computer, properties, computer name, change name, we add the domain, URB Corp, okay, password administrator, and then password for administrator. And here we go, our part of the domain. Again, start the computer. Alright, Windows XP. Back on Windows XP. Control Delete. And great. Now we have the option to log in onto Corp domain. Of course, to do that, we type in corp slash administrator and put in the password. Let's go on to Vista now. Now Vista has a similar GUI to Windows XP, so therefore the process will be very similar. So let's get right to it. XP is blowing up right now. Great. We're now logging on to the domain as administrator on Windows XP. Let's add this to the domain now. Yeah, let's let it start up a little bit. Alright, so cancel this. Go right click, computer, properties, change setting, continue with permissions, then we change, click domain name, corp, okay, we add the administrator and password. And we're not part of the domain. Just join the domain. So okay. Close this. And we start now. Great. Now let's insert our password and join this and log on to this domain. And voila, we're on the domain. Now I just logged on to this domain with the administrator account, so we're pretty sure that this computer, Windows Vista, is on the domain, right? Also, when we when we added the computer to the domain, we saw a box come up saying welcome to domain corp or corp domain. And so we're pretty sure that we're on the domain, but there's also another way we can do that on the server. Go to the server. If you go to the server, if you go to the server, you go to start, go to network, and this will open. Now we could click here, search Active Directory, and then we click this drop down, go to computers, and then we click find now. And by doing that, we'll see the free computers that we just added onto this domain. Now the server gate, of course, is the domain controller. Alright, now computer 1 is Vista, computer 2 is Windows XP, and computer 3 is Windows 7. Now there's also another way to do that. If I turn on network discovery on all the computers, you'll be able to see on the network window each computer and what type of work group they're on. So let's do that, and there you go. So I turned on network discovery on all the clients, and you can now see that they're part of the corp domain. Alright, let's go down here, corp.com, corp domain, each client. So there you have it. Let's show you examine what we did. We added a role, which was the Active Directory domain services. Alright, once that was installed, we then continued the installation with DC Promo, which actually installed the functionality of Active Directory domain services. It created a domain, and we made the server the domain controller. Right. After that, we simply added clients to the domain, and then we verified that they were on the domain. Next, we will be looking at creating a roaming profile. See you then.